It had to be done, right? Streetwear or street fashion is the one thing that we all know and love, and yet many of us don't truly know what it is. Is it skate, hip-hop, counterculture, hype? The thing is, it's not easy to answer, but we're gonna take a stab at it using historical reference and quotes from people far more qualified than us. So, I'm your boy Reggie Casual, and today we asked the question we should have asked first. What the hell is streetwear? And full disclosure, we're totally gonna get it wrong, so take this video with a grain of salt. First things first, the actual word streetwear was coined by Brad Dorfman's label Vision Streetwear back in the late 80s, but it wasn't until the early 2000s that the word streetwear was added to the general lexicon of the dictionary and both those of the street and fashion industry itself. It's a term, for better or for worse, that encapsulated a type of fashion spearheaded by the youth in response to an industry that largely ignored them when it came to style and culture. It's truly an enigma, and some designers can often view the term in contempt. Take, for instance, Heron Preston, who says the term streetwear is too narrow-minded and cheesy. So yes, it's contentious to be sure. So we'll leave it up to one of the forefathers to describe what his label was about to give us a baseline for what streetwear is. Largely credited with having the first official streetwear brand, Sean Stussy birthed his brand Stussy in the late 80s out of the Southern California surf and skate culture. Sean Stussy described the brand as, quote, a multifaceted, subculturally diverse Southern California lifestyle-based t-shirt brand mimicking the limited feel of a high-end luxury brand. He then goes on to say that those are the two most integral components of what makes a brand streetwear: t-shirts and exclusivity, end quote. Now, Stussy's original explanation of his own brand and what streetwear is not the end-all be-all, but it does provide us with a bit of context. And even though brands like Fresh Jive, Extra Large, and 555 Soul may have come at relatively the same time as Stussy, it was the only label that insisted it was specifically for those it represented, in this case, surfers and skaters. Now, if we were to take Stussy's description, then streetwear is lifestyle-based clothing with each individual brand catering to a specific section of a subculture or multiple subcultures, which should, as a result, make the clothing exclusive to the group it is attached to. But we all know that's not the entire case. There are plenty of streetwear aficionados that don't always subscribe to the lifestyle of the brands they like, so the next obvious step is often the hardest pill to swallow. Streetwear might simply be the consumption of the subcultures of skate, surf, hip-hop, urban, grunge, etc., and the various intricately laid subcultures of those groups. Eric Brunetti of Fucked In, speaking with Bobby 100, says, quote, big corporations have infiltrated streetwear and are currently in the process of rewriting its history to fit their financial narrative. He continues later, by keeping me out of the picture, it makes it safe for unqualified individuals to enter the industry and become overnight sensations. Being a friend of a rapper seems to qualify, end quote. A fair point to be sure, until you find someone like Jerry Lorenzo who echoes this sentiment, saying that, quote, we don't belong to a big fashion house, no investors, no partners, the product is pure. He continues, I guess anything can be considered street that comes outside of the traditional fashion system, end quote. But herein lies the problem. Even though there's an underlying understanding that streetwear is unapologetically authentic with both Eric and Jerry's case, there's less agreement on the actual keys to the culture. Because if we look at both Fucked and Fear of God, the two labels couldn't be more diametrically opposed to each other. One built on the strength of the culture it represents, and the other arguably built off of consumption, affiliation, and hype. This idea of affiliation and hype goes deeper once you cross the pond to Japan. In Japan, streetwear is somewhat of a foreign term. Everything stems from the term street culture or street fashion. Take forerunners like Hiroshi Fujiwara and Nigo, who collected everything from music, denim, magazines, of any and everything Western that appealed to them. Thus, we're talking about culture. Their die-hard love translated into a revolution that shook the very foundations of streetwear as it is today. Both Nigo and Fujiwara saw that people were willing to pay a premium for this Western style in Japan. But then celebs like Pharrell and Kanye began co-signing brands like Bape, which at the time were only available in Japan. thus creating this quasi-extreme exclusivity in streetwear. Not only was the clothing for a particular group in a subculture like hip-hop, it was the zenith of hip-hop fashion to have a piece from a brand like Bape at one point. It showed how deep you were into the culture or how much you were willing to pay to be a part of it. And along with the sneaker boom of the late 90s and early 2000s, hype culture was more or less born, better known as hypebeasting. If something is cool to the cool people, it'll be cool to the masses. We all know this. Mix this with a premium tacked on and you get a model that has been done before by the traditional fashion industry, and they were very eager to pounce. So in many ways, thanks Japan, you ruined it for everyone. Now all jokes aside, we're at a point now where luxury brands from Givenchy to Fendi, Gucci to Balenciaga are getting in on streetwear or street fashion. We live in a world where Louis Vuitton is collaborating with brands like Supreme and Fragment, and department stores like H&M and Forever 21 offer up popular styles for you at a fraction of the price. They recognize streetwear as a force in fashion, yet are quick to dismiss those who merely print on t-shirts. It's gotten to the point where brands like Off-White are seen as the pinnacle of streetwear design, but only in the traditional fashion world, which is a huge departure from when Stussy mocked the idea of being like luxury brands. So times have certainly changed. But that doesn't answer our question. What is streetwear? Is it culture-based or consumer-based? New Yorkers will say it's grounded in urban culture and hip-hop. On the West Coast, we got skate, surf, grunge, and many more. Europe, underground music scenes and sport. Japan? Well, here in Japan, those subcultures are more or less preserved, captured in time, and expanded upon. But it's also hype. Exclusivity, marketing, branding, limited in its nature, attaching itself to popular culture. It's the lines outside of Supreme or a bathing ape. It's Tyler the Creator wearing a Supreme camper at the MTV Music Awards and Pharrell Williams wearing Human Made around Tokyo. It's consumption, but more importantly, it's expression. That's why streetwear probably isn't a culture in and of itself, but the basis for creating the image or the uniform of any particular subculture coming from the street. It may have started with skate and hip hop, punk, grunge, or whatever, but streetwear is much more than that now. It could simply be expression of a street lifestyle through clothing, amplified, meant to be consumed. But the real question is, what the hell is streetwear to you? Let's know the answer to that question in the comments. Thumbs up if you like this video and follow up with us on Instagram for the visuals and Twitter for the info. Help us build the ultimate shop for Japanese street fashion by supporting us on Patreon. But most importantly, keep it locked right here for all of your info on international street fashion and culture from Tokyo. It's your boy and keep it casual. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. And we out. じゃあ今日はここまでです。